Today, we're going to talk about earache remedies part 2. So in the previous video, which I'll link to above, we talked about how to make an earache massage oil using essential oils and specific herbal infused carrier oils to support ear health if there's an earache. And actually that's doing really well. So my husband this morning got up and he says, I have an earache. And I'm like, oh no. And because we don't generally go see the doctor for things like this, but he said it was really bad. It was like, it felt like a nail was stabbing into his ear. And I'm like, okay, that's not good. So we're going to go ahead and get some things going on here. But I thought I would go ahead and make a tincture as well. So I've got 5 different tinctures here that I'm going to combine in a 2-ounce dropper bottle. That's going to be very, very helpful for, I think, his earache in terms of upper respiratory in general. So this can actually be used for any kind of respiratory situation. I'm choosing some of these specifically for earache, and I'll just talk through those really fast. So hyssop is the first one. I don't have this strained off yet. I'm actually just going to use it directly from the bottle, and you will see a lazy herbalist at work. By the way, if you like my videos, I would love it if you would subscribe and join my YouTube community. That would be amazing. All right, and like and share if you know of anybody who's got earaches. These are really great. Anyway, hyssop is an herb that is slightly sedative. It's got some wonderful antiseptic qualities, and it's got some wonderful antimicrobial qualities, and it's drying. I like it because it has an affinity for the respiratory system. It does contain volatile oils, and one of the chemicals in those volatile oils, which are the essential oils, is 1,8-cineol. So it's really nice. Really beautiful for supporting respiratory conditions in general. So I'm going to go ahead, and I've got a beaker here. I'm going to be using about 12 milliliters of each of these herbs because I have a 2-ounce bottle, or about a 60 milliliter bottle, and this is going to just allow me to use equal parts. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and dip in here my little measurer. Try not to gather any of the little hyssop leaves. Normally I would strain this off. I just haven't done that yet with this tincture. And I'm going to go ahead and pour it in here. And since it's out off of my shelf, I think I will go ahead and get this strained off. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this 12 milliliters into, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab a strainer, because I do have some little herbal bits floating around in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and strain it off one more time. There we go. Get the herbal bits out of there. Uh-oh. Spilled a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and a little bit more in it. All right, here we are. Yay! 12 milliliters of hyssop tincture. Here we go. Boom. Hyssop is a plant that's very easy to grow in your garden, and it smells nice. Now I should just mention, there's a couple of varieties of hyssop. There's anise hyssop, or I think it's also called Korean hyssop. It's not the medicinal one. You want the actual regular old hyssop. Okay, next up is goldenrod. I'll put the Latin names in the description below. I'm not gonna go ahead and bore you guys with that right now. But let's talk about goldenrod. So goldenrod are your beautiful yellow, wavy flowers in the late summer, early fall. In fact, I've got some dried goldenrod right here. It's beautiful. Just such a pretty plant. It's one of the everlastings. I mean, if you can catch it and get it clipped before it puffs out, just right before it blooms, really beautiful flower arrangement plant. It's got some wonderful medicinal qualities too. So goldenrod is drying. It's really helpful for congestion and allergies and stuffy noses and all of that. It's also very, very helpful in situations like earache. So I'm going to go ahead and dip out some of my goldenrod tincture here. You just continue using this strainer. Pour slowly so I don't splash everywhere. All right. Perfection. Pour this in. So again, we're just making a really nice, gentle, upper respiratory tincture, supporting tincture that's going to be really helpful for just clearing out the eustachian tubes and things like that. This tincture is yarrow. Some people say yarrow. And yeah, I love yarrow. Yarrow is one of those herbs that really you should have in your cupboard. It's so useful for so many things. Just a beautiful, beautiful herb to be using. And it's very astringent, so it tones and tightens tissues. It's also helpful when there's fever and things like that. So in this case, my husband does not have a fever, but if he did, this would be a wonderful herb to use. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour this in here. Very good. Okay. But I love that it tightens, and that's what I want. And then next up is golden seal. Golden seal is not to be confused with goldenrod. Golden seal is actually a plant that contains high levels of a chemical called berberine, and berberine is really great for being an herbal antibiotic. In fact, I talked about herbal antibiotics in another video. I'll link to it above so that you can check that out. But I mentioned all of the, actually not all of them, there's a ton of herbal antibiotics, to be honest, but I mentioned my favorite ones. I really, really think that you should take a look at that if you're interested in building out a home apothecary for yourself. In fact, I just want to mention my course, Ditch the Drugstore. I'm opening it up in September for another student round, and I would love to have you join us in that class. It's really wonderful. It's changed people's lives, and it's coming up very, very soon. Come join us. Golden seal is also very endangered at this point, so it's not one I really like to use. I created this tincture actually a few years ago. I just want to be honest, the herb that I would choose these days is Oregon grapefruit. It is not endangered, and it has very similar chemistry to golden seal, so I really would prefer using that one. And finally, we've got Echinacea angustifolia here. And this is another one that's not strained off, and I feel like that's just fine. Alrighty, I'll go ahead and pour a little bit in here, about 12 mils or so. Echinacea I'm putting in here because it's drying, it's antiseptic, it's antimicrobial, but it also tends to boost the immune system. And in this case, if my husband is getting ready to come down with an ear infection, that's an actual infection, then I want this going into his body. Another good herb that you could use for this would be elderberry. There we go. Nice. And then you just go ahead and shake it up. Be sure to label it with directions. So a normal adult dose of this tincture combination is going to be 3 full droppers. And in a 2-ounce dropper bottle, when I say full droppers, you're not going to get it clear up to the top of the dropper mark. I don't know if you can see that. In a full dropper for a 2-ounce bottle, it's actually right around down here. They do that so that the dropper bottles are somewhat standardized, and I believe it's to about 30 drops in a dropper full. And I want to use 3 of these for him at a time. And you would do this, probably 2 to 3, 4 times a day, depending on how bad the ear infection is. So that's his tincture for his ear infection or ear problem. I don't know if it's an infection at all. By the way, I'm not a medical doctor. I am an herbalist. I've been working with medicinal herbs for a very, very long time, and I'm also a certified professional level aromatherapist working on clinical work in aromatherapy too. So I love plant medicine, as you can see. I decided to make it a point to go study both herbs and essential oils so that I know what I'm talking about, I know what I'm saying, I know what I'm doing. And at this point, my husband and I have not been on any prescription or over-the-counter medications in probably around 12 years now. It's been pretty amazing. It's been an amazing journey. I started learning a really long time ago, but that about 10, 12 years ago, we decided to just draw the line, or actually I'm the one that decided to draw the line in the sand to go, no more, I'm just done with this. He never was really big on medications, but I had some debilitating health issues and was on many different medications, and now I just manage everything naturally, and I'm so blessed to be able to do that. And it's a matter of just learning how. It's something that's accessible to everybody at this time in our history. Big pharma, the health insurance industry, FDA, there are many entities out there, the AMA, many entities that really would love to see herbal medicine go bye-bye, right? In fact, back in the 1930s and 40s, they crushed the eclectic herbalism schools, which were actually legal at that time, and made them illegal, sending herbalism underground, where now today, technically it's illegal to practice herbalism as a medical modality. So that's why we don't. We basically practice herbalism in terms of supporting the body's health and wellness. And it's kind of a mind shift game there, right? But anyway, I could talk about this for hours and hours. I just wanted to share with you this very quick and easy herbal tincture for earaches and share the 5 choices I made here. There were other choices I could have put in this too, but these are the ones I chose for my husband for his issue right now. And I am just so wonderfully blessed that we have an apothecary full of tinctures, and I can just go choose and pick and grab what I need. And that goes for community members here too if they want help from an herbalist. So that's it. I'm Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead, and I hope you have an awesome day. Please subscribe to my channel. There you go. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this. This is Earache Remedy Part 2, Tinctures. Bye-bye.